Hello, Smoky Valley. It is time for another COVID update from USD 400. Today is July 23rd, and it is time to get back with you. We have been waiting just a little bit until today because the state board met yesterday to address the issue of uh, affirming or not supporting the executive order from the governor. Many of you have been watching to see what's happening. The governor issued two executive orders. The first one, which needed to be affirmed by the state board, was the order to begin school on September 9th or later. Okay, well, we were all sitting back to determine what was going to happen, and we had to wait for the state school board to decide, and they voted 5-5. Well, there's no tiebreaker on a 5-5 in this situation. So what happened was that the executive order was not upheld. So that falls back on the local school boards. So our local school board will determine when school will start, and we'll talk to you about that in just a minute. That order also said all activities had to cease. There could be no practicing, no weightlifting. Nothing could happen from August 10th through September 8th. So as I look around the state, I'm seeing that schools have decided to start at all different times, but most have decided to move their start date back because they have to have more opportunities for training with their staff for protocol, instructional delivery, etc. So that executive order is gone. So now 2058 we're going to talk about now. Let's talk about 2059. 2059 is one that cannot be overruled by the state school boards, and according to the state officials at the governor's office, it cannot be overruled by local counties. Now the AG, the Attorney General, says that perhaps local counties can overrule it. But let's look at the rules because we're going to follow those rules. The governor says right now that face coverings must be in place to your child when they return to school. Face coverings include a multitude of things. Masks, gaiters. I'm going to show you what a gaiter is. We're going to issue gaiters to all of our kids as well as masks to grades 5 through 12. We're going to give them masks and gaiters when they come to school. This is a gaiter. I have a gaiter on right now. I tried one for a couple of days and it turned out to be pretty well. When we say gaiter up, this is how you have to ride the school bus and enter school. You need to gaiter up. You put a face mask on. I don't have to hook it around my ears, or it works relatively well. When we gaiter down, we just pull it right down in our neck, and that works pretty well. So we'll provide those to our kids, and our local county official, Shaylee Shea, says that she will approve gaiters as a face covering. We also have to maintain 6-foot distancing when at all possible. Our kids have to use hand sanitizer every hour at least, and we'll do temperature checks with our kids as they enter the buildings. The whole idea is to keep our kids safe. So these are things that must be in place before they enter the building and to keep our kids as safe as possible. You know, these circumstances will continue to change. We did a parent survey about 2 weeks ago. Several of you said that you are reluctant to send your child to school. You're a little nervous about this whole COVID thing. You're not sure if you want your kid or your children in the middle of a gathering in a building all day, every day, and that you have decided that you would like to find an alternative, and that would be a virtual learning model. If you have chosen that, we're calling you right now. We're in the midst of making phone calls to those parents that answered that way to the survey. We're going to direct you to the charter school website because we have, as you know, Smoky Valley Virtual Charter School is a wonderful, recognized by the state as one of the top in the state of Kansas charter school, where we will enroll you and ask you to make a commitment for a semester to do at-home learning through the charter school, and there are some things that you have to follow because it's going to be a little bit different. But we'll explain that to you if that's the route you choose. But for most of you, you're going to choose option 1, which is to come to school with the rest of your class. Okay, let me tell you about a couple of dates. One, enrollment will continue to be that first week of August. I think we're going to open up the online enrollment about August 3rd. New students will be August 6th. That will be in place. Our teachers will have training for most of the month of August concerning all the protocol and instructional delivery, and some training and some new software and some things we have in place. If you remember, those of you that had your kids in school last year, at the end of the year, it wasn't the best delivery model. We did a pretty nice job. In fact, we were better than most schools in delivering to our kids, but that's tough. That's not the way that we want to be delivering instruction. So we will have that in place as well. Okay, here's a date you need to mark on your calendar. September 3rd. September 3rd is the first day of school for our kids that choose to go face-to-face in class with regular education. For most of you, it's going to be September 3rd. Mark that down. That's a Thursday. That's 2 weeks later than we originally planned on the first calendar. Not the week that the governor decided the following week, but September 3rd. So we hope to see you then. If you choose option 1, remember, we do have a lot of things in place right now and some things that we're still working on. Daily health screenings for kids that enter the building, face coverings, which I talked about, practical classroom safeguards. On bus, we'll have some opportunities for our kids to ride the bus safely. But I must remind you, some of those bus routes are going to be a little bit scary for some of you, perhaps. Your kids that are on the bus for 45 minutes or longer, that may be an opportunity for you to bring your own child in, because I'm not sure that I want them riding on a bus. We're going to crack windows and load from the back first, and we'll have some protocol in place there as well. But that's going to be an issue. Transportation, unless we put 3 kids on a 72 passenger bus, we cannot social distance with the 6 feet apart. We'll be talking to many of you about that as well. Not all spaces or functions in our school can achieve that 6-foot distancing. We have a lot of questions, even with our staff, about what's going to happen with music, what happens at recess, what happens to my child every day. We want to keep your kids safe as much as we can. Now, we talked about the in-school face-to-face, and we talked about the at-home virtual learning that your child will be doing every day, and the requirements for that are not real easy all the time. There's going to be some pretty heavy requirements for kids to do virtual learning, but there may also be, and there could be before we begin, a hybrid model. The hybrid model may be in the middle. Now, if things continue with the curve that we're seeing, the hybrid model may be a way that we start. The hybrid model is something in the middle, from everyone attending to everyone being at home. Now, the hybrid model might mean your child comes to school 2 to 3 days a week. If we have to, and I'm seeing a lot of schools start that way with a hybrid, what that does really is the hybrid model keeps smaller groups of kids in school. Let's just say that half of our kids come to school on Monday and the other half come on Tuesday. With smaller groups of kids, we can distance. If I have a class of 20 kids in a hybrid model, I can distance those 10 kids 6 feet apart, and I can have a great class. But I may have to do twice the learning, and they're going to have to do the rest of it at home the next day, online on their own. We hope that you have internet connections. And if we resort to the hybrid model, which is very likely if we start having outbreaks or we have kids that are quarantined, perhaps even educators that are quarantined, we may be moving to a hybrid model at the drop of a hat. So I want you, as you pay attention to these videos, because more and more are going to be coming out when we explain what our hybrid model looks like. I want you to be able to be prepared to have babysitters in place, know what's going to happen with if mom and dad are both working. What are you going to do with the kids if they're at school on Monday and then they have to be home on Tuesday? So a lot of things are going to happen between now and the start of school, but mark your calendar for September 3rd. That's the start of school. If you really feel a little bit nervous about coming to school because of what's happening in McPherson County. Now, McPherson County right now is moderate level. I want you to know that. We have 123 cases in McPherson County. Moderate level means that we are not low risk and we are not high risk. We are in the middle. And if we look at the state guidelines, moderate level means we need to start developing a hybrid model. Okay? That means we need to have smaller groups. We need to be more protective of our kids. Okay, there's a lot of things to think about here. More will be coming out again as we move forward. Again, hats off to my entire team in the Smoky Valley and the Board of Education who has supported all the work that we've done. And for you, we thank our community. And I thank you for not bombarding us with questions, because I know many of you are concerned about where we're going to go and what's going to happen and how we're going to protect our kids. We're going to do the best that we possibly can as we get through this. But remember, we're all in this together. Keep your kids safe. Masks have been proven to protect our kids more than anything else. So our young kids are even going to have to do that. As we mask up, and I'm not afraid to do so, we can protect those around us. I thank you very much for your time. I look forward to talking to you again in the next few days. Thank you.